Hey guys, and let's talk about Renfield. Yeah, the new movie about Dracula, or more specifically about his title servant in the title, Renfield, and lots to say about the movie. First, I have to say that the story about the movie is about how Dracula and his servant Renfield are moving in from Transylvania into New Orleans, and while Dracula wants to continue being an evil vampire that he is, Renfield actually wants to free himself from servitude of Dracula and instead wants to atone for all the bad things he's done and just live a normal life. Pretty interesting concept, but also in some ways some people would say pretty cheesy. And it's normal because objectively the movie is actually very cheesy, over the top and silly, but that's not necessarily the problem. If you don't take the movie too seriously, it actually ends up being quite entertaining and quite a good time. And the first thing I'll talk about, and that's probably the best part about the movie, is that Nicolas Cage as Dracula is simply excellent. Like, this is a perfect example of a role that we never actually even thought about, but once you see it, you realize it's something that you didn't know you needed, because Nicolas Cage was born to play Dracula. He's perfect as Dracula, and even now, I have to say that after I learned he's going to play Dracula, I literally thought, he actually kind of looks the part. Like, I never could actually picture him. I mean, I could totally picture him as Dracula. I mean, like, I didn't picture him ever before, like, I found out he was actually going to play, but the minute he was announced as Dracula, I really thought, he totally could pass as Dracula with his looks. And no surprise there, as I said, he does a phenomenal job, and he's simply excellent Dracula. Like, my favorite Dracula is still Bela Lugosi, but Nicolas Cage is most certainly the best modern Dracula. And I love how, although he has few elements of Bela Lugosi Dracula, he's definitely giving his own take on the character, and it's perfect. So, yes, the performance of Nicolas Cage as Dracula is just perfect, and might be one of my favorite performances of Nicolas Cage ever. Another one I really love, I also thought he did a phenomenal job as Castor Troy, the villain of the movie Face Off, which is a pretty great underrated action movie that I think people should check out, by the way. Face Off. Yeah. And I think other performances in the movie are also pretty good, actually. Like, the guy who plays Renfield is also pretty good in the role, and he totally makes the character of Renfield very relatable. Yep. And there is also, and returning to the story of the movie, which I think is pretty entertaining, is that in addition to the Renfield wanting to free himself of Dracula's service and actually atone for his wrongdoings, there's also a sub-story that involves a cop in New Orleans whose father has been murdered, and she actually wants to have revenge on a crime syndicate that murdered her father. And then Dracula, of course, later teams up with the crime syndicate while Renfield teams up with the cop. And that actually creates really interesting dynamic between Renfield and the cop, and later also the dynamic between Dracula and the crime syndicate. Yeah, it's all really interesting. Although this also comes where the movie actually suffers from some problems, like, because now this is the moment where I think that because of so many things, the runtime of the movie should be at least like 30 minutes longer, because as a result of kinda short length, the movie is all over the place and the pacing is a little too fast, and it feels like the story jumps all over from place to place just to get the characters where they need to be. And this is the one thing I think the movie suffers actually from, because as a result of a short runtime and the plot being a little overstuffed, as a result of that, the pacing is a little way too fast, and as a result, the story can feel like all over the place sometimes. So yeah, the longer runtime will certainly benefit the movie. And the last thing I'll talk about is that the action in the movie is good. There are times where it was, I think, great, but there are times where I think it needed some work, actually. But admittedly, the action overall in the movie was literally like I felt like I was watching a Quentin Tarantino flick, because there was so much blood and gore in there, and it was very much Tarantino style. So yeah, the over-the-top action of the movie was decent, I say, though I certainly think the action in John Wick Chapter 4 was way better. And the final thing I'll talk about is the comedy in the movie. Like, the jokes overall were pretty funny, like especially the conversation when Renfield talks with the cop and tells her the truth about himself. Like, this is actually really pretty funny, actually, and I was laughing. Though not all jokes landed with me, but many did. So yeah, overall, what I say about Renfield, I think Renfield is a pretty fun, entertaining flick that deserves to be seen. Although, don't take it too seriously, because ultimately, it's most certainly not something to be taken very seriously, because it's very much an over-the-top, violent comedy horror. Yeah. But, again, I already said it, I will say it again though. The main reason you should see it though is certainly Nicolas Cage as Dracula, because I said it already and I'm gonna say it again. He was born to play the role. Like I never thought about it, but Nicolas Cage is simply perfection for Dracula, and it's literally one of his best performances I ever seen. So, yes. Okay guys, thank you for checking out this video. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll talk to you soon in another video. Talk to you later, bye!